All right, and welcome to this second session in the D2L with Dave webinar series. So today we're focusing on developing in D2L with Dave. We're going to be creating and cultivating lessons in Brightspace. So the actual lessons that people would be creating or modifying, and the ones that students would be accessing for your courses. First things first. My name is Dave. If you weren't here for the first session that we did, I'm our technology-enabled learning and teaching contact for the board. I work in the student success department with an awesome team there, and I'm the liaison for the Ministry of Education with e-learning and with D2L, which is the company that provides the platform Brightspace, where we run all of our online and blended learning. So today I'm joined by our co-host and facilitator, Paul Lonke. He is one of the special assignment literacy teachers, and he's actually been an e-learning teacher for about 3 years now, I think, Paul?
Yep, 3 years.
Is that right? So Thank you, Paul. He's going to be moderating some questions today, similar to how we did it last time, but we've built in some question periods so that throughout we're not just answering them at the end. Today is going to be a little bit more demo-based as opposed to just me telling you all the things you can do. I want to be responding to all the questions that you'll have about creating and editing content. And again, there are going to be some further webinars. As you know, I think there's one on Wednesday and Friday about communication, and I can't remember what the fourth one is about. So I'll look at that when I'll look at the list and share that out. Okay, but today that's what we're jumping into. So I am going to actually take away my screen for a second, or take away my video. And what we're going to do just to start off today is we are going to ask a couple questions. So first of all, question number one, we're going to have a poll here. And I need to give some context to this first. So the question is, who got more sleep last night, Paul or Dave? Now, Paul's stats down here, he's a 1x1 and a 1x3. My stats are a 1x1 and a 2x5. And what that really means is that Paul has one 1-year-old and one 3-year-old. I have one 1-year-old and I have two 5-year-olds. So the question is, who got more sleep, Paul or Dave? And you should see that question coming up on your screen right about now. So I'm just going to leave it open for a couple seconds. You can let us know who got more sleep last night. Kristen? Okay, and so I'm going to close the poll, publish the results, give it a couple more seconds. And you guys think that I got more sleep last night. Paul, how much sleep did you get last night?
I was at about 7 hours, almost 7 hours.
Almost 7 hours. I think I got about 5.5. So I think I am the loser of that poll. So Paul luckily got more sleep. I guess it could have had something to do with having to prepare for this presentation today a little bit. So anyways, thank you for participating in that fun poll. But we do have some serious questions to use the polling feature for. So the question will come up on the screen again, and I just want you to select the best answer, the answer that first comes to mind for you. Our second question here, and again, this is happening with my slides. So you know what? Give me one quick, yeah. So in your opinion, what is the most important characteristic online content should have? So the first option is accessible and clear, easy to access, challenging, innovating and engaging, and a close replication of the live classroom. So those are A, B, C, D, and E. I apologize again. I have a feeling I'm going to have the same problem as I did with last webinar. Okay, I'll give it a few more seconds. I think I've got about 50 something. Okay, and if you've selected from any of you should notice there's polling options at the top for A, B, C, D, or E. If you select those will update the poll numbers. And if we close and publish those, we've got 42 that say they have to be accessible and clear. So I think that's very useful in terms of the way that we're going to move forward today. I'll make sure to really stress on that to make sure that everything is accessible, easy for kids to see, and also accessible for screen readers, things like that, and then clear instructions and all of that. Okay, thank you. Next one will be this question, and I apologize again. I'll put the same poll up at the top, initiate the poll for A to E. And it's, what have you found to be the largest difficulty or hindrance in terms of distance learning so far? Student engagement, lack of training, lack of consistency. Just going to give it a few more seconds. Okay, so I'm going to close those. And not at all surprising here. So I think the easiest one to notice is that student engagement has probably been decreased in this time of distance learning. And then a close, or not very close second, but in terms of second and third, somewhat close in terms of technological problems and lack of training. So, I mean, that's hopefully what we're trying to do through these webinars, is to start training people to understand how they can offer online learning in a way that won't cause as many technical problems. Okay. So that's great to know as well. Hopefully we'll be able to figure out some ways to increase student engagement. And maybe that's as a result of the last poll we did, which was talking about just having content accessible and easy to access. Okay. So question number 4, instead of using a poll, I want you to respond in the chat. And Paul and I are going to be looking at these answers. So in the classes you teach, what might good online teaching look like? And I want to stress, there's no wrong answer here. So just write this in the chat pod. You can use the orange questions as a guiding question. So what do you think the components of good online lessons should be? What considerations should you take when providing online lessons for your class? How do you want your students to experience your online class? And if you can just add that into the chat so we can get a good understanding of where you're at in terms of your thinking. I'm just going to mute my mic and start looking at the chat. All right, Paul, what do you notice inside there? Any
I'm
themes that
noticing
are
a couple
kind of jumping out?
around engagement. I'm seeing lots of people talking about students being, excited and interested in what they're reading. What are you seeing?
I see some where there's a lot of engaging, some flexible, easy instructions and chunked questions and examples. But basically, it seems like a lot of structure and then wanting interaction and choice. So there's, and then I like what Bridget actually just put in. So up-to-date information and having video. So kind of using all the different, or trying to engage all the different modalities, trying to include not just text-based, but some videos, some audio, and just different ways to engage.
I'm also noticing a lot of people talking about consistent routines. I think a lot of people have learners that are used to, a solid routine, and I think replicating that online can be useful. And I'm seeing that as a theme.
Very good.
Clear instructions.
Yep. Okay. So, I mean, first of all, I didn't notice much of anything talking about the content itself, but more how the courses should be offered. And I like that because, sorry, I'm just frustrated right now. I can't see why people don't have audio. Are other people able to Are other people able to hear us? Looks like a few. Okay, so it's not. So it's just a couple. All right. So the nice thing I think about this, when we're looking at this in terms of developing content, there's going to be some things that are common throughout any subject area. And that is, we want to create engaging opportunities for students online. We want it to be interactive. We want to make sure that the students can access it quickly. And that's totally apart from the content in terms of, the biology versus the English versus everything else. So we're going to share some commonality in terms of developing the content. And then it's just kind of like insert your actual curriculum expectations throughout. So I apologize to those who can't get in for the audio. There is a recording that will be there. Thanks, Paul, for writing that in the chat. Okay. So where we're going to go next is I just want to make you aware of something that we want to do differently today or compared to last week's webinar, and it's using the question form that I've created here. So if you go to bit.ly/D2L WDQ, and it is case sensitive, I'm just going to put that into the chat right here.
Mommy's doing a meeting right now. Do you need me? Because Daddy's outside.
Sorry, I was just
Okay. I'll talk to you after, okay?
Okay, so if you go to that link, that's going to be the link that I want you to use to put in any type of questions you might have for Paul and I throughout the session. And then in the chat, we're going to be doing a little bit more responding back and forth with everyone. So if you end up having questions, please put them in through this link. So if you want to just copy and paste that into another tab in your web browser, anytime you have a question, we're going to be monitoring that through Microsoft Forms. So, and then there's going to be times during our webinar today where we have periodically set out spaces just to answer questions. Okay. So hopefully that's okay for everyone. And yeah, if everyone can turn off their mics aside from myself and Paul, that would be great. Thanks for that suggestion. So notice in the bottom right-hand corner, you will also see that link to the question form. So if you're ever wondering where to go to ask a question, go to that. You may not be able to click on it, but you can at least go into your web browser, type it in, and that's how we'll provide questions. The other piece to it is going to be that we're going to be trying to develop a Q&A afterwards. So I want to have all the questions in one place as opposed to, having them inside the chat. Okay, so just a couple housekeeping items, and now we're going to get into the rest of it. So where we're going today is this idea of creating versus curating or cultivating our lessons. So I've used curating and cultivating kind of interchangeably here, but the idea there is that sometimes you're going to be creating your lessons from scratch, and sometimes you're going to be starting with something that's existing and then modifying it based on what your needs are. And you know what I'm going to do? Sorry, I apologize. I'm just going to share my screen and go through the PowerPoint on full screen as opposed to the way that I was doing it. Okay. So when we look at creating lessons, we're not using the ministry content starting from scratch, and you're making brand new files within Brightspace, or you're loading up your own documents into one central location, which would be in the content section of Brightspace. In terms of curating or cultivating lessons, you might be starting with existing content and modifying it to your liking. Could be using ministry content or content that you have from somewhere else, but you can still always add supplementary items or content to your lessons for students. Now, when we look at creating lessons, we're going to do that in the content section, which is in the nav bar of each of your courses. And when you go to one of the courses that you have, you'll always be starting with a blank slate. It'll be empty. It won't have any content in it. On the left side, where you'll see these, it looks like some spaces where things can go, that's where it's going to show all the folders and files that you create. You can add units to it by selecting new unit and then add your content from there. There's also the ability to add existing curriculum expectations. Notice here it says 0%. I think we covered this a little bit in the last session where we showed that you can add curriculum expectations, and then as you tag curriculum expectations to different content items or assignment items, then the percentage increases. And then once you've attached a curriculum expectation or every curriculum expectation to an item, then it should show 100% so that you know you've at least covered the curriculum with what you've offered. Okay, and I'm going to demonstrate this in a little bit too. So if you do have questions then about that specifically, I'll show that. And then when you create content, that's going to preview in this right-hand side section over here where it says welcome. Okay, so there are going to be ways that you can create lessons right from scratch. You can use your files if you want, or you can create documents, and we're going to show that in a minute. Okay, so once a unit is created, so when you select new unit, you can add from existing activities that already exist in the D2L or Brightspace course, which could be assignments, discussions, quizzes, or you can create new, and that would be creating a new document or creating a new assignment or things like that. So the distinction between the add existing or the create new, add existing exists somewhere already. That could be a file that you have on your computer that you want to load up. Create new, you're going to be limited in the things you can do, but I'm going to show you that here. And then again, I'm going to demo it as well. So if you're creating lessons from scratch and you want to create them new, you have these following options. You can create a new lesson, which is basically just a file folder that you can put different files into. You can create an HTML document, and I don't want you to be scared that it says HTML here. This is basically just like creating a Word document, but it creates it inside of D2L, and that's what we're really going to focus on today. You can insert web links. So if you have a website address you want to put in there, paste it in, and it will load in. You can create new assignments or new discussions or new quizzes or new checklists directly right from within Brightspace. So you don't have to go to the assignment tab, create an assignment, and then link it. You can create a new assignment right from within here. External tool activities, I'll demonstrate what some of those are in a little bit. And then in the more icon, you have the option to create self-assessments and surveys for students. Okay, now this again is all just in the, hang on one second. I think I might have, oh, someone steal my screen share?
Yep, sorry, I made myself a presenter.
That's okay. Give me 1 second. Just let me know when I'm back.
Yep,
Am
sorry.
I back on?
All good.
All right. Sorry about that. So again, in the more section, you can create self-assessments and surveys for students. But again, these are things that have never been created in Brightspace. So if you've never used it before, you're probably going to want to be in that create new as opposed to add existing. But if you've already gone into Brightspace and you've played around, created some assignments, or if you have a previous course, or even if you're using a ministry course, there's going to be a lot of that stuff already created. So if you do choose the choose existing option, then there's a lot more options for you. So you can choose an existing file from Google Drive or OneDrive. And then notice you have this drag and drop or browse option down at the bottom here. So you can load up your files. You can link to already existing assignments, discussions, quizzes, checklists, basically anything that exists in the course already. Same thing with a virtual classroom. If you have a virtual classroom session that's already been created, then what you can do is link directly into there. Okay, and then in the more section, there's probably about 15 more things you can create. And the big thing you're going to have here is that you're going to want to play around with this. So I'm not going to be able to walk through everything today. We're actually going to be asking you to participate in some content creation today during our session. So whether it's from creating something that already exists or creating something that's new, you're more than able to do all of that. Okay. So when we're in the content section, once you've added something, whether it's new or old, it's going to show under that new unit here. So these are just some screenshots I took as I was creating some content for this session. And then I'm going to go into the course and show you all of that step by step. So I don't want you, I mean, I know I might be going a little bit fast. I don't want you to get confused with anything though. So I will show this all. I'm just trying to show you some overall screenshots first. So once you've added something in, you'll see the new unit, and everything you've created under that will show under that specific unit. You can continue to add to this unit like I've done with these two files here and here, or you can create folders, which are called lessons, and they just act as subfolders underneath that unit. And so then you can add files into those specific lessons or folders. And then it just makes a different way of structuring your lessons inside here. So then if you wanted to drag document 1, you could drag it and drop it in the order you want it to. And then you'll notice that there are these little eyeballs here that have lines through them. That means these are hidden. So you as a teacher will be able to see them, but students will not be able to see them. Okay. So again, I know there's a lot of stuff you can do here. One great feature about using the file uploads inside here is that when you upload a Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, PDF, or an image, they all render directly inside the browser. So students do not have to download the files to view them. So this file right here, D2L with Dave session 1, that is this file here. And you can see it's 45 pages long and it's just a scrollable document. Sorry. So great opportunity to load in content that students can access easily. I know that was one of the things that we focused on at the beginning of that. Okay, so I'm going to jump into a demo quickly, and then we're going to head into our first section of questions with Paul. So give me 1 second just to switch to the other piece. And I apologize, my child is banging at the door that I'm in. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to open up this course here. Okay, and so we're going to head into this content icon in the nav bar. And when we do that, you'll see I already have I have some content created inside under new unit 1. But everything that I was demonstrating here, if I want to create a new unit, I just select this new unit button, and then I can give it a title. So I'll call this unit 2. I can give it a description here. If I give it a description, this can just be, this is the description for unit 2. The neat thing is inside this section here, this is actually a WYSIWYG editor. And WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. So whatever you see here is going to end up showing in the description. So I can insert an image, I can insert stuff, I can insert links. So for example, I'll just show one thing quickly. If I want to upload you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to upload a picture. No, I'm not going to upload a picture. I'm going to upload a video note. That's what I was going to do. I can click on a new recording and say, this is the description for unit 1. Sorry, unit 2. Stop the recording. And go through, insert that, save it. And whatever I've created here, notice I've got my new unit 2. This is the description for unit 2. And this is the video note. It's just, I just recorded it. So if I refresh the screen, now it should probably show there, embedded under unit 2. And there we go. Okay, so that's unit 2, and I've created my description. Now that I have unit 2, once I'm selected on unit 2, I can go into either of these options, the add existing or create new. So I can create new, and I can select notice here it's a new lesson, but the icon is a file folder. If I select that new lesson, we'll call it lesson 3. Again, I have that option to give a description, and the description would go underneath here. And then I can add files underneath that file folder, or I can add them right underneath the unit itself. So if I add something under the unit itself, like again, create new, again, I can create an assignment, or I can create any of these options. In this case, I'm just going to create an HTML document. And you'll notice it looks very similar to that blank white space. I'll call it document 1. And then here, this is document. Right, I'm being very simple for a reason here right now. So just so you can see that here. So document 1 is here. Notice now that it's created, I can either drag this in above that lesson, or I can actually drag it into the lesson itself. And then once I've got that, basically I can create documents and go through that way. Now, this is very basic. If I wanted to add something from an existing, and I select add existing, again, if I have my Google Drive or my OneDrive attached, then I can log in and pull a file directly from there. If I want to create a discussion, I can create a discussion right from within here. Same thing with all of these other pieces. Now, I told you I would show you the external learning tool activity. And if I select that, then there's a few different things that we can create right from within here. Most of them are meetings. So the UCU meetings. So notice here, there's these D2L with Dave sessions. If I want to add that link in, that link is actually the link to today's session that we had. So I've created that in there. Bongo is an external learning tool that's provided by the Ministry of Ontario. So what we end up being able to do is link directly to a meeting room as opposed to just telling people where to go to get to it. Okay. So there's a bunch of other different things you can do in terms of adding existing tools. But if you select the more option here, there's so many more different things you can add in. You can add in a chat that you're going to have, a synchronous chat. You can add in a rubric. You can add in video assignments or a virtual classroom link, or even a Microsoft Teams meeting if that's what you want to do. It's not just limited to the self-assessment and the surveys. Okay. So again, this is all things that you can play around with. But the neat part about this is, again, I find if a lot of people are already having documents they want to load up, is this drag and drop or browse. So if I select browse here, I can open up this right here. So it'll upload it in. And then once it loads up, which I mean, it's about 37 pages, so might take a minute to load in. But once it loads in, it'll preview directly inside here for us. And there we can see it loading up. And that's our presentation from today. Right? So the nice part is about this, if you were in this class as a student, you'd be able to view this without having to download that PowerPoint. Okay? So that's basically adding stuff. Now I know that it's probably a little bit more complicated than that, and it's going to take a lot of playing around with if you're going to create things from scratch. But you do have the ability to basically load in anything. Now, the other thing here, notice all of these, when I load in a document right away, it always defaults to being hidden from students. So that means if students come in here, they will not see Unit 2, they won't see Lesson 3, they won't see any of these files. But you notice right here, there's this hidden button. So because I'm in this file, if I toggle on that hidden button, now it says visible, and you see it changed over here. So we can see very easily how you can toggle things from being visible or hidden. And it's just so that when you create something, students don't see it right away. Okay. So I'm going to head back into this now. I know I've gone through that pretty quickly. We are going to be giving you some time during today's session to play around with that. So I was just wondering, let's move to our first section of questions with Paul. So questions, or Paul, do you have some of those questions from the forum that are there?
Yeah, I sure do. I'm going to share my screen here. And I've got some questions. Thanks for the people who are answering in the forum. And we got lots of good questions in here. So the first couple questions are about creating classes for SHSM classes or for adding and removing students. So how do I create a class and how do I add and remove students?
Okay, so great question. If you want to create any non-SIS generated course, so that would be something like the SHSM or like a group, or you want a sandbox course, what you'll have to do is just email me, david.gomes@publicboard.ca, and request that. And that's the only way of manually creating a course. I have to create you a course and then I can assign you to it as a teacher. It doesn't take very long to do, and I can usually get back to you within a day having it done, or 20 minutes depending on what I have going that day. But at this point, the only way to have a manually created course like that is to email me and then I create it for you.
Sounds good. Next question, we have a person who's interested in assessment and desire to learn and what that looks like. And I just wanted to confirm, is it Friday's session that's going to focus on assessment?
Good question. Let me check and see which one is the assessment one. I have assessment is Friday, yes. So okay. Wednesday is communication, Friday is assessment, where we're going to be going a lot deeper into that.
Okay, sounds good.
So I hate saying we'll push it to Friday, but we're going to be covering assessment in a big way in Friday.
Nice. In virtual classroom, is there a way to moderate students' names? And I'm wondering if that means, is there a way to change their names or disguise their names? I'm wondering.
In the virtual classroom meetings?
Yeah, so the question is, if I want to have synchronous lessons on D2L as opposed to Microsoft Teams, and this is the format we're using now, is there a way to moderate the students' names? So,
Yep. So the way that I've had you come into this meeting was through a public link, which I would never do with a classroom, because then you have the opportunity to log in from wherever, and you can change your name to whatever you want. And so that's obviously not what we want with a classroom. If the students are, if when you create a course in virtual classroom, Paul, I'm just going to steal the screen again, okay?
yep.
And then, because I'll show that now. Okay. Let me just grab that. Okay. So if we are in a a classroom, now along the top, what you end up having is this virtual classroom link. And when you go in here to create a virtual classroom session, notice I've got some sessions inside here. When I go to create this session here, so I'm just going to say that it's for now. I have the option in here to invite the entire class or to allow external participants. The way that I did this, just to share with you, was to allow for external participants. This should never be used for students, though. So when I save this, anyone inside the classroom will now have access to it. So they should see this meeting right here called sample meeting. And then they can go in and launch from that. And then they can't change their name. The only way they can log in is through D2L. And so it is safe, it's secure, and their name will be there from the class list. So only students from that class list will be able to join. I hope that answers that question.
Yep. Next, if I have 3 sections of the same course, how easy is it to copy components and announcements and content to other classes?
So the way that I would suggest doing that is not through copying them from one to the other. There is a way that we can merge those courses together so that you have one course, but it has 3 sections in it. So you've got 3 sections of students inside there, but what you would end up having is the students can't see each other in those courses. But then when you go to post something, you can post it so that it only goes to section 1 or 2 or 3. But you could post it and not have any restrictions on it, and then it posts to everyone. So we're actually doing that right now with a couple courses at Leamington in their math department, and I think it's working well for them. So, but that's something that you'd have to contact me about again, and then I can merge those courses for you, no problem. Again, it doesn't take long. It's just depending on how much time I have. If you need it in like the next 10 minutes, it might be a little bit difficult, but if you need it by tomorrow, it's always something that I can do for you. Okay? So it's definitely possible. I would suggest not wanting to create and copy and paste into every single thing. So I would want to create it once, have it go out to all students.
Okay. Next question. Can Brightspace link to a MediaNet account directly in the way that the Ontario Educational Resource Bank does?
To a MediaNet?
Yeah, our MediaNet accounts, and that's where we, the criterion where we can have films.
Okay. I'm going to have to look into that because I'm not 100% sure, but I will look into it and I'll address it in either our next video series or in the Q&A.
Sounds
video
good.
that I put out.
Okay. Next question. Do YouTube videos render inside D2L as well?
Absolutely. So let me actually show that. I have a video on it, but let me go in here. Just let me know. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So inside the content here, just gonna zoom out a little bit. I have a document that I created. Where is it? Which one is it? So depending on how you do that, you can load in a video or YouTube video just like that. We're actually going to be covering that when we go into the HTML document. Okay, so yes, YouTube videos render directly inside here. in the same way that if you were on your home page, if you're on your home page with the announcements, you can paste a YouTube video into here, or in the activity feed, you can paste a YouTube video. And if this is in a larger format, then you'll be able to see it embedded right in. Okay. Anything else?
Yep. Can PDFs go directly into lessons?
Yep, they can. So it's just in that upload files space.
Okay. Next question. If a teacher wants to start working on their fall course now, can they start building the course and create the class and start putting content in there, even if they don't know exactly what the course code is going to be yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be something where I would create them a sandbox course, and then we can do it right from there. So if we create them a sandbox course, they can load in whatever they want, and then once they know their course code, they could copy their content into another one.
Sounds good. A question about choosing which students see which lessons. So maybe I have one student who's at this point in the learning, and I only want them to see these particular lessons. Other students in the same class, I want them to see different content. Can that be done?
It can be, but it has to be done through release conditions, and usually you do it through groups. So you could create a group inside the course, and then whenever you're putting a content item in, there's always a restriction that you can put on. So you create a release condition that allows only members of a specific group to view something. If there's a specific question about that, I can make a video on that later on.
Sure. Okay. If you're importing a saved file, it can come from OneDrive, and it can also be a file that is saved locally on my computer.
Yes, absolutely. So it can be something that's saved locally, or yeah.
Okay. We have a teacher who has the master course downloaded and now wants to copy all or some of the portions into their course.
Okay, so that's something we're going to be covering a little bit later.
Yep.
And I'm realizing now that it's 1:15 already. I don't know where that 45 minutes went, and I apologize. We still have a lot of stuff to get through. So I know we said that this was only going to be 45 minutes. If it's something that you want to stay on with, please stay. If you leave, that's totally okay with me. I understand. Yeah, I think with some of the issues with people getting in, it was a little bit difficult to start. So, but I'm going to keep trucking along. Paul, if you even need to leave, then that's cool too.
No, I'm good.
All right, but I think we're gonna have to trudge on a little bit, and then so if you can just make a note of which questions we still have to answer.
Sure.
Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna hop back into this PowerPoint here. So now, still in the creating lessons portion, the biggest part of this is going to be the creating an HTML document, because that's going to be where you can really customize what you want to create inside here. So some people are asking about uploading their own PDFs or Word documents. The difficulty with uploading a Word document or a PDF is that if you ever have to edit it, you have to edit it in the original file, download it, and then upload it back in. If you create your documents inside Brightspace as an HTML document, then you can always go in back and modify them right in the browser, as opposed to redoing all of that work. Inside an HTML document as well, you can add text. You can modify that text with the colors, the font, the italics, whatever you want. You can put links in. You can throw in video notes, YouTube videos, links to different things. And again, it's viewable right in the browser. No one needs to download it. Okay, so I'm going to demo the HTML document creation right here. So when I'm in my new unit, I'm just going to go to Create New, and then I'm going to select HTML document. So then I'm going to give it a title. So this will be session number 2 HTML doc. And I basically have free reign in this white space. So I can give it a title. We'll call it June 1st meeting. You can write some paragraph text if you want. I can, again, make it bold, italicize it. If I want, I can give it a superscript. And then from here, I've got the option of adding in different things. So in this insert stuff icon, this is where I can go in to add a video note if I want to again. I can upload a file if I want. There's some other things if I want to link. There is a YouTube feature inside here. The problem is that this isn't working right now. So if I search for a perimeter video, it says an unknown error has occurred. That doesn't mean you can't use YouTube. It just means you have to do that through a different location, which I'll show you. It's just two below it. It's insert link. And so if I go to insert link and I have a YouTube video, so I would just have to go to YouTube first and paste in a video. But if I had, have that, and I want to just toss the link inside, then it'll insert a link to Google, right? So I will just go to, just going to stop sharing my screen for a quick second, just to grab a YouTube video that I can paste in. And yeah, why not? Do this one. I'm going to share again. Okay, so if I insert from insert stuff and go to the insert link, and I put in the URL, select next. This is just the first thing that popped up on my YouTube channel. So insert it, and then it inserts right in. So Premiere Ford giving an update on COVID. Okay, so that inserts a video. You can insert images from your camera, from your computer. The other piece inside here is where you can add links to things that exist inside the course already. So if you have an assignment you want to link to, you select the assignment, or you can create one right from within there. I can't remember what I have created inside here. I think a checklist. So if I have a checklist inside here for lesson 1, I can put the link inside just like that. And this is now my document that you could create in a way. I mean, if we had more time, we could create much more better documents. But the one that I made earlier today in a couple minutes was just, I think it was in here. So it's got some text, it's got a video, I can insert an image, I can insert a YouTube clip, and some links to things that exist inside the course. Okay. So again, I know that that's a lot. What we were going to do is have you create your own HTML documents by going into this course. So I created you all an account inside the D2L with Dave course in Brightspace, where you can get to it right from, I'm going to try and highlight that for you and paste that in. Where am I going here? So if you paste in that link, then you might have to log into to Office 365, but you have the ability to go in and create your own HTML documents. Now, I think in the interest of time, because we did have, we're pretty over. I'm gonna cut this activity, but the idea here was that you would go in and you can create HTML documents inside that course, practice around with it. You can just go in and create a unit or an activity inside there, create a unit, create some lessons, add an HTML document, a YouTube video, whatever's up to you, and then share your experience doing that in the chat. Again, I think we're going to cancel that activity, and we're going to do something similar for your homework anyways at the end. So apologize for that. If you have done it, we can share experiences a little bit later. Okay. One thing I will suggest, though, is if you were going in to create lessons on your own, then the issue becomes that when you look at the structure of the lessons and the files, it can become pretty messy. So what you'd want to do is make sure that you at least have some form of a folder hierarchy. So whether that's you choosing that you're using, unit 1 and unit 2, and then your lessons are going underneath there, or if you're doing it by week 1, week 2, week 3, and putting your days of the week inside there. And then each of those days you can insert your own files into. The goal here is to make it simple and easily accessible for students to access their files in the least number of clicks and scrolls. And so we definitely want to make sure it's simple for kids to find what they need. The other thing is that when you create a new unit, they automatically color code, so you can really distinguish between unit 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then you also want to use your hidden invisible to your advantage. So for example, if it's Monday and I only want the stuff for Monday to show, I'm going to hide everything from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm also going to hide everything from week 2 so that my students don't see that and get overwhelmed. So thinking about the student experience actually really helps when you're looking at creating content within there. Okay. Paul, I just want to jump into if there's any content specific questions like that.
Let's see. A few people are asking about maximum file size if I'm putting in video.
Okay, so if they're uploading a video, I would suggest uploading a video through the video note as opposed to just uploading a video through your phone. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by that. Because you don't want to load up a video and then have a student download it. And this is one of the difficulties with things like other learning management systems where students are always having to download things. So if I want to go inside here, and actually notice in this HTML document, when I'm on this document, I'm just going to select the 3 dots in the top corner and then select edit. And then under here, we're going to see that now I can go in and modify this. So under the insert stuff icon, what I would do is go to add video note. And then notice here, you can do the new recording, but you can also upload a video file. And then when you have that file, you can choose whichever file you need. So I'm not going to, sure, we'll do that one. Select next. And you can see here, that's the max. So the file size can't be more than 1024 megs or a gig. Okay. But notice here, that's what I would do. Depending on the size of the file that you have, if it's a gig or higher, I would upload it to YouTube and then embed that in. If it's less than a gig, then upload it into here and it will embed right in just like it does with a regular video note. Anything else, Paul?
Let's see. How do you link OneNote to D2L? Does that happen automatically or do you have to import?
So what I will, that's a trickier one. You can do it and it would happen inside the external learning tools. So if I'm in my content here and I want to go add existing, I want to say it's under here, external learning tools, and see OneNote class notebook. And then you'd have to sign in and it would link based on your OneNote class notebook. But if that's something that you're interested in using, then by all means play around with it, contact me and we can go a little bit more in depth into that. But basically that's how it would work. You'd sign into your OneNote and then that OneNote classroom notebook would be inside there. Okay, but that's found under the add existing and then external tool activity.
Okay. I had another question about adding students. Lots of people seem interested in like creating classes for clubs, etc., and adding and removing students. So I think we've talked about that already.
Yep, that's just an email me, and once you have that, you can add in students. I have a video that I can share out about that. It's just you go into the class list and add participants, add existing user.
Nice. We have a teacher who's interested in playing with a sandbox course with a mix of content and original material. So wondering if you need a specific course code, but I think what you would do is just copy the master course into your sandbox course and then feel free to make whatever changes you want there.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you don't have a sandbox course, let me know and I'll get it for you.
Perfect. Question about how do you move and add widgets on the homepage?
So that I'll make a video and share that out. It's just not a quick answer that I can give right now. Essentially what you end up having to do, is once, you know what, I'll show one thing. Once you're able to go in and go edit this homepage, there's one step you have to do before that. But once you can get to edit this homepage, then you just go inside here and click and drag. Okay, and then that moves them all around. But that would be email me and I'll help out a little bit more with that.
Nice. And the last one that's on the forums right now is somebody is asking, can we stay in the example class and play with the program after the session is done?
Absolutely. Yep. Yes, you can.
All right.
Okay. So we're going to jump back in and get into the ministry content stuff. I promise we won't be super much longer. But when we okay. So when you look at in terms of cultivating the content, there are a lot of courses that the Ministry of Education has created. There's over 120 of them right now. 60 of them are newly developed. So, and what I mean by newly developed is they've been developed since 2016. And there are 3 formats of these courses. They're old, newer, and newest. And I'm just going to show those very briefly. This is a style of the older page, or of the oldest style. So whenever you want to modify these things, so if you're going in and modifying the original ministry content, you just need to get to the place where you can edit the file. And to edit the file, you need to have this 3 dots up here, and then there's an icon that says edit. So to do that, you need to know how to get to each of those pages. So the old style, which is the before 2016, the pages are usually hidden, like you can see here with the slash through eyeballs. But the content pages you would edit are called content, content 2, content 3, under these activities like A3, plans and patterns, A4, something else, A5, and that's just for activity 5. So you then get to this, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. The 3 dots in the top right-hand corner, and then select edit. The newer style, of course, which was developed in between 2016 and 2019, inside the units, there's always a unit at the very bottom that's called something like edit content here, or teacher edit. And then basically what it has is a copy of all of the other units inside the course, but down under here, and that's where you would go in, find the file, and go to edit them. There's only 1 content page per activity, as you can see down here, like Unit 1 content. And then you, again, 3 dots, edit. The newest style, which is the 2019 to present courses, and there's, I think, 12 of these, they have the folder hierarchy of the unit, the activity, and then the content file, and you can edit those files right from within that that hierarchy. So you've got the content file here, you've got 3 dots, and then select edit. Okay. So I'm just going to go in and demo that quickly, just so that you have, oh, wrong page. So just so that you have an understanding of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go for a few different courses, MDM, or go MBF3C. And I'm going to open up this one. So this is going to be the older style course. The look and feel of the course is going to be the exact same, but when I go into the content here, notice it's got the units, so unit 1 through 9. And if I go into unit 1, basically every single file under unit 1 is shown here. Okay, so it's just loading them all up right now. If I select A1, if I select A1 primary trigonometric ratios, you can see there's an overview, expectations, content, and assignment. And if I click through these, the content is really where we get what we want in terms of the lesson. But if I want to edit that page, notice there's these pages underneath that are hidden that say content, content 2, content 3, content 4. If I select that content page, now I'm on this page. If I select content 2, I'm on this page. And then I can select this 3 dots and select edit. That's going to open up this window that shows everything inside here for that lesson. And all I have to do is click in and type. So if I want to add something else, here's what I'm adding, right? If I don't want this example, I can click on it, delete it. Basically works just like a Word document would, right? So whatever you add, whatever you delete is going to stay in here. I can add in, again, my own images. I can add in my own links. I can add in a video note if I want. When you click save, it'll update. I'm not going to click save because this is my master course, but you'd basically go through that. So you go through every content page and modify whatever you need on that page to be modified. The next type that I'll do is, I think it's MCR3U. Oh, no, sorry. Let me go MDM4U. That's the one. MFM2P master course is the next style of course. And when I go to content on the left-hand side, what you'll end up seeing down here is at the very bottom, there's this edit content here. So if I go to unit 3 normally in activity 1, it says go to this activity, 3 dots. If I go to edit, it doesn't let me change anything except for the title. So what I have to do is go down to this edit content here folder, scroll down, find unit 1. Okay, there's my unit 1 content. Actually, sorry, down here is unit 1, activity 1 rubric. So yeah, activity 1 content, and I can do the 3 dots, edit. And then this is now where I can go in and modify what it is that I want from that lesson. Okay, so everything is done underneath this edit content here course, and then the unit 1, and then you can see all these other things, right? Like activity 3, this is the actual lesson. When you go through it, it has all these things built into it, like saving to your portfolio or assignments, drop down, edit, and that's where I can get in to edit those courses. Okay, so now if I don't like all the text inside here, I can delete, I can add, whatever. Okay, the third and final, so the newest updated style of course would be MDM4U. And I need the master, sorry. Okay. And so when I go into this content style, this is kind of like a blending of the first and the second style. So they're new and updated, but you can edit them right from within the browser. So I can see my unit here is Intro to Probability. My lesson is Introduction to Probability Concepts. I can edit this page if I want to change that, but that's not the actual lesson. The lesson is under content. And then you can see it's a 3-part lesson, Minds on Action Consolidation. Once it loads up, we can scroll through it. And they're very, they've got embedded games, embedded images, pictures. If I want to modify that again, the options, select edit. And I'm inside here and I can change anything I want now. Okay, you just got to be a little bit careful when you're editing these things. Sometimes sometimes you can mess with them and they're not easy to get back, but I can always help you with that. So when in doubt, ask me for support in terms of editing. Okay. So all those lessons, those are actually HTML documents, but they're coded very nicely by TELO, or Technology Enabled Learning Ontario. So the editing is the same as when you create your own documents. It's just there's some added layers to it. So if you do need help with editing, you may require my support or someone else who knows how to edit those content files, like an e-learning teacher who's had a lot more training in it. There is also support that's always available, both online from D2L or from myself. So please reach out if you have questions about it. Now, the next thing is you'd want to know how to get those master courses. So I know some of you have already talked about the master courses, but basically what you can do is access these master courses and register in them so that you can access them all. So in order to do that, you start in on the home page in Brightspace. And right up at the top in this nav bar, there's an option for master courses. When you select that, you end up getting to a list of all the departments and the courses that are currently available. You'll also see the year they were created next to them so that you'll understand which format those are going to be in. Anything before 2016 is going to be in that older format. Anything between 2016 and 2018 is going to be the new format or the newer format. And then anything 2019 and forward is going to be the newest format. Okay, so you can kind of toggle through these, find a course that you're interested in looking at. You select this, and then you select register, and then you can select register again. And then as you're going through, you can just continue doing that. Go register, register, submit, and finish. And then now that course should show up on your My Courses as a teacher master course. And if I click on that right here, now I've been registered into that master course and I can go view all the content inside that course itself. Okay, so that's how you can go view the course content, but you cannot edit those courses. Okay, so because you're not able to, those courses are those are the master courses. You can't edit them, but you can copy them. And the copying process, I have a video that I'll share a little bit later that can do that. You're gonna have to give me one quick second. I have a child banging on the door.
Okay, so we had a question about what are the benefits of Brightspace versus OneNote notebooks, because both can upload files, both can upload videos, and both you can use quizzes in OneNote using forms. So what are the advantages of D2L over that? And again, these sessions are going to cover a lot of these things. One thing D2L does really nicely is discussions. You can have students responding to each other in a number of different ways, through text, through video, in different kinds of groupings. So the discussions has a lot of possibilities for that. There are also a lot of rich possibilities for giving feedback and desire to learn. There's a lot more than OneNote can do as far as rubrics and the different forms that we can use to respond to student work. Portfolio as well is something that wouldn't be available in OneNote. Dave, did you have any other ideas there?
No, I think you kind of hit it right on the head there. Now, I'm not going to say don't use OneNote in any way, but I think it's a tool for the purpose. I find when you're looking at everything being included in one space, and like you were saying, utilizing some of those tools like the discussions or the announcements or whatever it is, Brightspace has been designed to be a fully online platform for students to experience online learning. And that's essentially what it does. Whereas OneNote Notebook wasn't designed with that in mind. It was more designed for something that's being used as a supplement to in class or to be used in blended learning. It could be, but I wouldn't say that it's a fully online tool that you could use to do everything in. Where Brightspace, that's what it was designed for. But I mean, absolutely, you could use you could use OneNote Notebook as a resource within Brightspace. I think that would be feasible to do.
Nice. Two quick questions about master classes. Is there content for grades 1 to 8? And what about locally developed science?
Okay, so in terms of the locally developed, there is no locally developed content for science that was created by the ministry, and it's because it's supposed to be created locally in our board. From what I've been told, the ministry does not want us sharing the locally developed English courses anymore, so I actually have to remove those from the list. So and it's just because we should be we should be developing those courses at the board level as opposed to from the province coming down. Okay. The other question was, I don't remember.
Well, it's the same idea.
Grade 1 to 8.
Teachers are teaching locally developed classes if they want content for grades 1 to 8.
Yep. So if your students are working at a lower grade level, there are. I'm just going to share my screen again. There's no courses that are created specifically for steps, But if you have students that are working at a lower grade level, then when you log into the course, I feel like you might be able to see this, or not the course, the Brightspace on its own, the main homepage, not under master courses here, but down here under preview sites, elementary preview site. If you select that, it should bring you into a place where you can see all of the different primary, junior, and intermediate courses, so that you can get a feel for what they would be. Now, I haven't had a chance yet to go through and create the master courses option for all the elementary sites for that purpose, but that's something I'll be planning to do over the next school year. But you can view them through the elementary preview site. And if you want the content from an elementary course for something like a student who's working at a grade 4 level or a grade 5 level, then just let me know and I can help you load that content in.
Nice. Okay. We do have a teacher who's asking, she's looking at the MDM4U course,
Yep.
and she's not able to see the 3 dots in there.
Is it the master course?
Let's see. Section. I don't know. I think that may be one that we'll have to follow up after.
No, Shannon, if it's the master course, you can't edit those files for good reason, because we don't want anyone messing with the master course. So what you'd have to do is copy the master course into one of your own courses that you're the teacher of, and then you can edit that copied version. Okay, so that was actually the next thing I was going to show. So give me, I haven't shown it yet. I'm about to show it.
That was, we had another question about that too, where if I modify the master course, will I be able to go back and get the information that I've changed? So,
okay, so you never want to modify the master course, but what you're going to do is modify a copy of the master course. And if you ever screw up the master course, yes, you can go back, if you ever screw up your copy of the master course, yes, you can go back in and kind of get it back to what it should be. You might need my help with that, and that's okay. So just if that happens, just let me know. Yeah. But I think I will. Let me just show that that aspect right now. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, so to anyone who's already registered for a master course and you want to copy that into one of your shells, this is the process here. So what you're going to do is you have to first be in the course that you want to copy the content into, not the course you want to copy it from. So you need to go in and find a course of yours, either a sandbox course or a, if you have a section of MDM4U that you want to load in, then that's great. And then what you're going to do is select the gear in the mini bar, select import, export, copy components, search for the offering, add selected, copy components or select components. And it's going to be better if I just show a demo of this. So, but where am I going here? So I'm just going to go into a random course right now. So I'm going to go into this course, which is just a random course that I've created. But this process would be the exact same for anyone. So this is the course that I want to pull the content into. So this is not the master course. But what I'm going to do is go up to the top right-hand corner, and I'm going to select the admin tools. Now, I have a lot more admin tools than you do, but there is one that you'll see that's called Import, Export, Copy Components. And if you select that, you'll be brought to this screen that says Import, Export, Copy Components. This is where you can search for the offering. And when you click that, a new window should pop up. And you title it whatever you want. So MDM4U, and I'm going to put in Teacher Master because that's what you signed up for, or that's the one you want to copy in. Click on the magnifying glass so it'll search for the course. You should be able to find that course right here if you have already registered for the course. Select Add Selected. And then you'll see the course kind of loaded in right here, and you can go copy all components. And then that'll start copying in. Okay, so that'll work for every one of those courses that you have. And then you'll end up seeing, you'll have the master course and you'll have this course on your My Courses page. And then you can just unpin the master if you don't want to see it anymore. But if I go to content now, you should start seeing all that content that's just loaded in from the MDM4U course. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Okay. So again, this is the process. You want to be in the course that you're copying the content into, not the course that you're copying from. And then you go to import, export, copy components. You search for the offering. And my suggestion is that you would include the master, or where it says teacher master, after the course code. And that will mean that you're pulling in the right course. But this is actually the same way that you would copy your own content to another course if you wanted to. So say you were working in a course this year for MDM4U and you want to copy it to next year, you can search MDM4U and all the courses in that title that you're a teacher of will show up. So you can copy your own course content into another one of your own courses if you'd like. Okay. The other thing too is you can copy all components, which would copy the entire course, or select components if you only want, say, Unit 1 or something else. Okay.
Nice.
So I know that is that's a lot.
If you got a quick sec, Dave, we're getting a lot of interest in phys ed courses. People asking about master courses for phys ed and also tech.
Okay, so there's currently only 2 master courses that are available for phys ed, and right now we don't have any for tech. I'm going to look and see what other boards have available for tech, but it might be something where you've got to create your own content from kind of like what we were showing in the first thing, from your own HTML documents or uploading your own files or something like that, using videos in certain capacities. So it might be a lot of that as opposed to really being able to rely on the ministry content. So in certain areas like art, tech, phys ed, French, there's just not the content that was developed. So in phys ed, you've got Health for Life, which was a newer style course, and then the kinesiology, that's also a newer style course. But you don't have anything like the phys ed leadership or the PPL courses like that. And same thing with tech. But I'm going to look more into tech and see what other boards are doing, just to see if there's any courses that we can borrow nicely from them. But yeah, at this time, we're limited to what the ministry has offered us, and that's only about 120 courses, which is still a lot. But when you compare that to, say, social sciences and the humanities, and a lot of their grade 11 and 12 courses are up-to-date new ones, but that's because there was a curriculum change, so the ministry had to create those content, or the content for those courses. Okay. So I think the last thing quickly is just the idea of copying and sharing content. I did just show you how to copy. You can copy your own content to your own courses. So you can do that for any course that you are the teacher of. And the way that you could use this in a school setting would be if you're team teaching with someone, you could share a course. All right, everyone. Sorry about that little technical issue. It seems we reached the cap of our time. So I'm just going to record this quick few minutes at the end, and I'll share it out as well. So the last thing we were going to talk about is really copying and sharing content that's not ministry related. So what teachers can do is you can work collaboratively within a sandbox course that you have by adding other teachers to the courses through the class list. And all you do is you go into the class list, go add participant, search for the person you want to add in, select them as a teacher, bring them in, and then they have access to your course. So it's not even limited to your department, though you can add in your entire department. You could add in teachers from different departments in your school or different departments across the board. So this can actually be great in terms of lesson studies with the ministry content, or if you're collaboratively creating a course together, maybe it's something for a course where there's no ministry content and you've got some teachers who want to get together to do that. You're more than able to work on something collaboratively and then share it out with other people. When you look at copying and sharing this content, though, the only restriction is that you have to be a teacher in that course in order to copy it. So you always have to be a teacher in the course you want to copy from and a teacher in the course that you want to copy to. So then you have the ability to copy the entire course using this same method that I outlined in here, except you wouldn't be searching for ENG2D Master, let's say. You might be just searching for ENG2D GOMS, if I ever taught it. And if I search for ENG2D GOMS, it's going to pull up any course where I've ever taught ENG2D in the past, and then I select whichever course I want. So if I find the course that I'm looking for, select it, and then I copy all components, or I copy those select components, and then it's going to be right inside my course. Okay, so that's one way that you can collaborate with others across the board, especially in courses that don't have content and everyone seems to be reinventing the wheel. So great opportunity for for editing the ministry content as well, or even just working within your departmental structure at your school, right? So maybe you assign a couple teachers one course or one activity, look at some activities, and there's a lot of opportunities there to work together. Okay. The last thing is we did want to collect some feedback from you just to see how you think we're doing in terms of covering the content, what you'd like to see us change in terms of the delivery model, and just any other comments you have. So if you are watching this recording and you do want to go back in and fill out this survey, you can go up to here, bit.ly/D2L WDFB. That's for D2L with Dave feedback. It is case sensitive, so just be careful if you're going to put that into your web browser. Make sure you type it in properly. And then we wanted to leave you with a challenge as well. So what we were hoping to do is challenge you to go into the D2L with Dave course, which should be in your My Courses widget on your homepage. Don't worry, no one else sees it except for all the teachers, so it's not a big deal. But what we were hoping to do is just have you challenge to add your own lesson inside there. And in that lesson, include either a video or a meme that expresses your feelings about distance learning, whether it's a recorded video of yourself or if it's a video online or just a meme. But just try to make sure that they're appropriate. I mean, they can be as goofy as they want as long as they're appropriate. And we're going to open up our next session by starting off with the highlights of the best ones. So I don't know how many people are going to do this anymore, so I'll be checking back before Wednesday just to make sure that if there are any, we can share them. And if you want an additional challenge, go in and try and organize the existing content of the course, because as more people add into it, it's bound to get messier and messier. But I just wanted to provide that course for you so that if you wanted to go in and play around with it, you're more than able to do that. Okay. Again, if you still have questions, this link down here at the bottom, which you can type in bit.ly/D2L with Dave questions or D2L WDQ. And again, case sensitive, so make sure you type that in appropriately. Okay. And again, I just want to thank you for coming to this webinar about creating and cultivating lessons in Brightspace. We are going to have a couple more of them this week. Wednesday, we're looking at doing communication inside Brightspace. And then Friday, we're looking at doing assessment in Brightspace. And each of those are going to be some weighty topics as well. Okay, so again, thank you for joining. I apologize for the two sessions or the two recordings here, but there's always bound to be technical issues. So I hope this recording meets you well. And yeah, we're looking forward to having you drop in on our other ones as we come. Thanks. Bye.